Hi, this is Marcel at Healthy Homemaking. Today I'm making strawberry muffins. They are super easy, and I'm starting by adding about 1.5 cups of flour. This is all-purpose flour. You could use cake flour as well if you have that in the cupboard, but 1.5 cups of flour is enough to make 12 muffins, so that's what I'm making today. And then I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of baking powder, which is going to give you some very fluffy muffins. So that's why we add the baking powder. And this recipe also adds a little bit of baking soda as well. So I'm adding about half a teaspoon of that. And again, this is a leavener, so it helps the muffins to rise. So this is a great recipe. It's very easy. I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of salt there. Salt is very important in baked goods. So cinnamon is something that you don't usually see with strawberries, but it's really delicious. I added about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon when I was making these, and it goes so well with the strawberries. And if you can make these with blueberries as well, or blackberries. You can make tri-berry muffins with 3 types of berries. So you just whisk that together, and for this recipe you don't even need a mixer. It's very easy to make by hand. And now I'm adding 3/4 cup of milk, and this is regular milk, and 1 egg. And I just mix it all in the measuring cup just to make it easier. It's fewer things to wash later. And this is 1 stick of butter that I've melted and cooled. I let it cool for about 5 minutes. You know, when you're baking, it's important to know the temperature of the ingredients. You don't want things to be cold if you're making a muffin, just like you want them to be cold if you're making a pie dough. So you have to know the difference. So I'm just adding the liquid ingredients to the dry and using the whisk to mix them. And you don't want to over mix, because then you form gluten in the baked good that you're making and they end up being tough. So there are a lot of like small things that you can do when you're baking to make sure that your baking is the best that it can be. And that comes with experience, or you can learn from someone who has been doing it for 20 years like I have. And now I'm going to switch. I've already mixed, so I'm going to add 1 cup of diced strawberries. Make sure they're washed and they're diced, kind of small. I like to use a paring knife to do that, which is a small knife. And now I'm adding 3/4 cup of sugar. I add the sugar at the end because it gives the muffins a really crusty outside that's really delicious. And it just changes the texture, so they get really crispy because the sugar caramelizes. It's different than if you were to mix the sugar with the dry ingredients and then add the wet. So as you can see now, I'm going down with the spatula and then turning it over on itself. That's the best way to fold, as I turn the bowl. So that's a perfect folding technique. And I'm going to use an ice cream scoop now to form my muffins. As you can see, I have a muffin pan there with the liners. And I like to use liners, then, you know, I don't need to play around with the spray. If you're going to spray your muffin pan, make sure you do it over the sink so that you don't make a mess. It's one of the things that I always do. So then I'm just adding the muffins to the pan there. And then I like to do a level scoop. So it makes it very easy to have same sized muffins. I think that's important. If you're trying to do it with 2 spoons, first, it takes longer. As you can see, this goes pretty fast. And you're also going to see that this recipe makes exactly 12 muffins if you're using a level scoop. So I don't like waste. That's one of the things I like in the kitchen, is to make sure that I don't throw away any food. I'm very mindful of not leaving any food in the bowl either. So I try to scrape it as much as I can and make sure that it's as clean as I can make it before I wash it. So, you know, these are small things that you can pay attention to when you're making a recipe. As you can see, 12 muffins, that's exactly what I got out of that mixture. So now this goes in the oven for 375 degrees, and this is the final result. They bake for about 20-25 minutes, and they're very easy. They're delicious. The cinnamon gives it a great taste. So if you like baking recipes, cooking recipes, make sure you come back. I tend to post once or twice a week, and I'm so glad you were able to spend this time with me today. These are delicious muffins. Make them for your family. As you can see, it takes about 15 minutes to make and about 20 minutes to bake. So thank you.